My name is Nikki. I am the CEO and founder of the Sheep and Cheerful podcast. I can be found on Ravelry and Instagram as Clara Peggotty, and I'm coming to you from the south coast of the United Kingdom, where I live with my family, my husband, my two children, one of whom is kind of half left home now. He's at university, one of whom is most definitely still at home and still at university, and our two dogs, Honey and Henry. And I'm sure most of you who have already watched this or the vlog already know that, but I thought best to do an introduction first, because that's the thing, isn't it? This podcast is about really all the fibre arts, knitting, crochet, weaving, sewing, spinning, and living a cheerful life, which is very much what I try to do, regardless of the times and what is going on outside, whether it be this year, last year, 5 years ago. So I felt that, being cheerful and thankful is what it's all about. So all that blurb over and done with. Welcome to anybody who's new, which is very exciting. I've had quite a few new people join us, and welcome back to those lovely friends who have been following me either on my vlog or from my first podcast last week. I hope you enjoyed it. I had some lovely feedback. I've such a week, so much to share with you. So I hope you're in for the long haul here. I did write in my, as I showed you last week, I have my notebook. I didn't actually make clear that this is all stuff that I've done when my sister had this made up for me. So this is all yarn that I've spun. So anyway, I have that here. Brief roundup of the week. You'll remember that last week I spent a while up at the hospital with Gary, who was poorly. He's getting there. He's getting a bit better. Nothing to do with COVID, but he has some ongoing problems that started before this all kicked off, which means, of course, that it makes everything else twice as difficult now getting hold of medical professionals, because they're all obviously supersonically busy elsewhere. But he's all right. He's currently up in bed. So I said I'd record this before I take his lunch up and have a bit of lunch. I think it's just an excuse for me to wait on him hand and foot, basically. But, which I do anyway. I mean, come on. Then, not to be left out, Henry decided to be poorly last week too. Poor little lad. He's under the table at the moment. My 11-year-old spaniel, well, they're both 11 because they're brother and sister, but Henry, my lad, we noticed he lost his hearing and his ear was a bit horrible. So I rang the vets in the hope that they might let me have some antibiotics. It's a spaniel thing as well. Spaniels often have ear infections because of their ridiculously floppy, sweaty ears. They wanted to see him. So having spent Tuesday night sitting out in the hospital car park, Wednesday morning sitting in the hospital car park, I then spent Thursday afternoon in the vet's car park. They've got this system, the surgery's closed, but they're still seeing their patients. So I drove into Eastbourne. You go to the vets and they have hooks outside set up, and you knock on the door, let them know you're there. And when it's your turn, you hook the dog's lead onto the hook. You step back. They come and get the dog, which totally confused Henry. Take him inside. You then wait out in the car park. And then the vet calls you on your mobile and discusses it with you and discusses what's wrong. And he then does an examination, and then he calls you again. Then they bring the dog out, and then you pay through the window. The palaver. I mean, they're really good. They're lovely, the vets. So anyway, Henry had some antibiotic ear drops. They also did a blood test and requested that I get a urine sample from him. those of you with dogs will now be realising the sort of week I had last week. Anyway, without going into great detail, I managed it, excuse me, I managed it over the weekend and took that in. So we're waiting to hear back from the vets on that one. So yeah, that was last week. Both the males of the house were laid up with some kind of illness. Apart from that, what else? I had a couple of lovely Zoom get-togethers, or video calls. I spoke with my lovely friends Penny and Irina on Sunday. You'll know that from my vlogs. They're the girls who I meet up with regularly for, we call it a knit night, but it's usually in the morning, and we go and have coffee and cake somewhere, which is lovely. I also had a get-together with Debbie, who is down Sheepy Lane, as a dyer, and Gemma, this little grey girl. The three of us managed to have a Zoom meet-up. And then on top of all that, and the most amazing thing, on Monday, I belong to a little WhatsApp group of my good friends Deborah and Emily, who have the Meanwhile at the Castle podcast on YouTube, and Emily has the Yarn Brairie yarn dyeing business, and they live over in Utah in the United States. And then there's a few of us over here, Gaynor, obviously Tales from Cuckoo Land, you'll know, and a couple of others. There's Jules, So Sweet Violet, and Amy, Taylor Studio, and Kelly, Lay Family Yarn. Look at that, I've just reeled all those names off. And we were going to have a Zoom meetup and chat. Unfortunately, not everybody can make it. So myself, Gaynor, and Deborah and Emily had a kind of a Zoom meetup. And oh, it was just wonderful. It was so lovely. And it was like, it is incredible, isn't it? This is where, technology really comes into its own at times like this. And we could chat. I don't know why we'd not done it before, actually, but it obviously took all this to perhaps give us the time at home to sit and chat. But anyway, that was really, really lovely. And it reminded me, actually, when I was chatting with them, that I'm wearing this wonderful necklace, and I did wear it all the time. And then suddenly, I think when I started staying at home all the time, I stopped wearing it. And it's, Henry's right in front of me now. I don't know if you can see. Is that focusing? So it's there you go. It's a knitter's necklace, and Emily gave me this for Christmas, and it's lovely. It's got all these wonderful various different stitch markers and progress keepers on them. And between you and me, I don't use the stitch markers. I just like wearing the necklace. I have used a couple of them actually, but that's on today. And I suppose I should say, oh, Emily's got these on her website, by the way, at Yarn Brairie, if you fancy going and having a look. And also, I suppose I should do the whole what I'm wearing. And I am currently, if I can push my chair back, wearing the Lynham tee, which is by Bristol Ivy. You can see the back. Don't like my back very much, but which I made from cotton. It's a linen, I was going to say recipe then, a linen pattern, but it has this fisherman's rib bit up there. Actually, it's like a tick. You can see that like that. This is all fisherman's rib, and the back is just a straight fisherman's rib panel, and it's great, and it's cheap as chips to make. I used DMC Natura cotton. And as it's worn, it's become slubby, which I really like. I really like this, and I wear this an awful lot. I'm actually thinking about making another one with some of the am I gonna fall off my chair? Oh, knock everything out. With this was, if you remember from the vlog, I have some of that in my stash with Debbie Bliss Amalfi left over from my names escape me now. It always does with that sweater. I'll put it across the bottom. And I could use this. I've got 6 balls and I could use this to knock out one of these. It might just do that, but that'll come under future knitting, won't it? So yeah, that's kind of news of the week. I guess we ought to get on with finished objects now. Okay, there you go. That's the finished object segment. I don't have any. I have been knitting like a woman possessed, but I haven't finished anything because all my projects are so flipping big that, you know, I'm not going to get them finished in a week. So you'll have to forgive me for that. But I do have some works in progress I can show you. I shall also say that for those of you who haven't watched me from my craft room before, we do have a wooden floor, and with the dog, Henry does like to walk up and down, so I do apologise if you hear the footprints in the background. Also, Hannah has just taken Honey out for a walk, and he's over there, he's watching out the window, and as soon as he sees him, he'll probably run backwards and forwards. So, but I wanted to get this done. So yes, right. I've got a tickly throat this morning, so please forgive me for that. I apologise for that. Let's look at, I'm not going to show you every single thing because I won't ever make progress on every single thing every week. And as I'm doing this weekly, I thought we'd try and keep it a bit more interesting. But I am now working on sock number 2 of my Heidi Allender socks, which I will show you in a moment. So that's my progress of sock number 2. It's tricky to show you because I'm now at the point, the beginning of the round, you can see, is actually here. Oh, my little lolly. It's now there. Because this pattern travels, it twists around the foot. The lace panel twists around the foot, but it's a really pretty lace panel. There you go. I can show you the, oh, look, you see. This is a finished first sock, and now I'm drastically looking for my sock blockers, which aren't here because I wasn't going to put this on sock. You can see how that sort of twists around, and then once you get onto the foot, it goes straight again, and it's got this nice little point, and that's where I put the round toe in because I don't know, I'm just about round toes at the moment. So this sock pattern, oh, first of all, the yarn is, this whole thing is part of my lovely friend Linda at Kettle Yarn Co, and she's doing a 52 weeks of socks, Cal, and in fact we're only aiming to do 1 pair every 2 months. We're not doing 52 weeks, but it links up with the liner book, the socks. I'm not taking the dust cover off, you've all seen that one. And the yarn I'm using is her Bayul base, which is Baby Yak Silk and Ethical Superwash Merino. And this colourway doesn't have a colourway on there. Oh, it says Auburn colourway. And yeah, Linda develops these blends and works hard to use sustainable, ethical yarns. So, and we didn't choose the colourways. We're not choosing the colours. We just get the surprise colour every 2 months. And now Linda, she chose that pattern, and we're all knitting along with that. And it is, and again, those of you who've watched me before know I struggle pronouncing this. It's, oh, sorry, my bad. There you are. Toivo Harju. Anyway, that's the pattern that we're knitting by Heidi Allender. And she hasn't, we've got until the end of April. That's right, isn't it? Yes, to finish the second sock. And then the next pair starts at the beginning of May, and for May and June. So that's where I'm at. I have been a little bit distracted working on other things, but it's a 12-row pattern repeat. Here come the guys. So yeah, Henry's going to be running backwards and forwards. Sorry. I let him out and then close the door, he'll want to come back in again. So we'll see if I can keep him away. Sorry, distracted there for a moment. Yeah, I've been distracted by knitting on my other projects, but I figure if I can do one of the 12 row repeats every day, I'll have this done by the end of the month, because I do want to keep up. I did make that decision and that commitment. We have received next month's yarn, actually. I was going to share it, but I'm not, because not everybody, you might not have received it yet. So I better not do that as a spoiler. I'll do that beginning of May when I start that. Right, I'm going to have a stop for a moment just to sort the dogs out. Okay, so hopefully got the hounds sorted out. They're still in here. Henry's settled down, Honey's prowling, but hopefully we'll be good to go. So yes, next work in progress. You'll remember last week I talked about the Moonwake cowl that I'm knitting as part of Gemma's isolation colourwork cowl. That's the hashtag she's using, and Gemma is the little grey girl. And I'd almost finished a first chart repeat of the pattern. I've done some more work on that, so now happy with that. Look, I even put a progress keeper where I was last week. So I basically got to there and then I've begun the pattern again here. So that bit is equivalent, or is the same, sorry, to that bit down there. So I love this. I'm really, really pleased with this. And as I said last week, it's amazing. It feels amazing. The combination of colour work, toothy worsted weight yarn and double layered on this cowl is just phenomenal. So this is, for those of you who didn't know last week, that's Knit Picks, all of the Andes I've used from Stash. And yeah, I just saw it, liked it, jumped on and started knitting it. And that's coming along a treat. It's on, what is it? 4.5mm needles, and it's a pattern by Andrea Mowry, Renee Knits, and it's the Moonwake cowl. So that's in there, and the project bag, as I mentioned last week, is my llama project bag, and that's from Bird Street UK, from Claire. So right, next one, let's go. I had also just cast on, oh look at this bag, it's such a gorgeous bag, I love this. It's a drawstring bag with leather doofers, and this, I'm gonna have to look inside because it's not from, it is from So Remy, and it's got a beautiful lining, which, I'm gonna show you the lining. Can you see that? It's so pretty. It's so pretty, this. It's lovely, and it's got wadding in it, which is lovely. I had cast on, as a kind of another spur of the moment thing, the new Jennifer Steingass pattern, the Aurealis. Now, this was the new pattern last week. I believe she's now put out a call for testers for her next pattern. So it's not that one, don't get confused. This is the Aurealis sweater, and again I only have it, a picture of it in black and white because I don't print things in colour. And I mentioned that this was in Spin Cycle yarn, so this was a gradient on this particular one. But I had again some yarn in my stash that had been crying out to be used. I've had it for years, and I found it, I paired it up with some Durarium Ulysse sport weight yarn. So in the fig colourway. So that's my contrasting yarn that I'm using, which is excuse me, 100% wool. It's merino dahl and merino noir. So French and Portuguese wool, merino wool. And the main colour is the Blacker Yarns Brushwork Sport Weight, and this is woolen spun. And I think this Ulysses is woolen spun, but it doesn't say, so I could be telling you a porcupine, but I don't know, they've both got a similar feel. So yeah, Blacker Yarns, they don't make this anymore, I don't think, so don't get too excited. Anyway, last week when I cast on, I had just hit the beginning of the colourwork yoke. Look. Oh, again, see, sorry, I'll show you the front, not the back. I've got my little owly stitch marker there. And I have done, oh, it's curling. There. There you go. How pretty is that? These colours I'm absolutely thrilled with. There you go. So yeah, absolutely thrilled. I can't believe that I had this in stash. Do a close-up of the pattern there. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So that's moving on as well, and obviously there's a fair few stitches on there. Jennifer Steingass uses, for those of you who haven't knit any of her sweaters, she doesn't do, these aren't raglan sleeves, they're yoked sweaters, so she does an all-round invisible increase, so it becomes quite wide quite quickly. I've got 2 more sets of increases to do before I then separate for the sleeves. Love that, really, really pleased with that. So that's pootling along very nicely, thank you very much. And out of the way. And then the other one, the biggie, the big one, of course, is my Paloma Sweater by Espace Tricot. Do you know what? I watched a podcast and somebody mentioned the brand of bag that this was, and I thought, oh yes, that's mine, and now I've lost it again. Oh, it might be in the front pocket, because sometimes I leave and today I haven't. Anyway, I bought this leather handle. I bought it at Edinburgh Yarn Festival, but it was from the Knit with Attitude stand. A plystra. Plystra bags, Plystre. Thank you very much. Anyway, really like it. And do you remember last week I said I didn't know what that badge was all about, that pin? Well, Gaynor sent me a little message, because Gaynor knows things, and she thinks it's a Braveheart reference. Freedom. So it's a Scottish sheep with orange hair, perhaps, oh, Mel Gibson. I've not watched Braveheart, not my sort of film, but she thinks that's what that's all about. Who knows? Who knows? So the Paloma Sweater, as I've said, is by Espace Tricot. And there's a picture. It's a free pattern. I'm sure you all are familiar with it. And it's one of those where you hold a fingering weight and a mohair or a Surrey silk alpaca. Surrey alpaca silk. You don't get Surrey silk alpacas, do you? I have made great progress on this. And I've left it on a longer needle to give you an idea now of where I am. Ta-da! I have split for the sleeves. Wow, can hardly fit it on camera. So I was gonna put it on my tailor's dummy, but I decided not to. Look at that. How gorgeous is that? So it's a bit close up, you can see. So that's where I was last week. And I finished all the sleeve increases. Remember, there's a that really lovely ribbed pattern down the sleeve or on the shoulders as well. I've split and I've done about 1 inch onwards from where I split for the sleeves. And now it's just straight down, baby. Straight down to the end. And this is gorgeous. So pleased with this. I really wanted to get to the sleeve split before I podcast today. So I've been doing some every night, as well as trying. I think there was, how many ridiculous amount of stitches did I have at the end? Blah, 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 blah. 376 stitches on a round. Because it's obviously, I'm not small, but it's also oversized. So I'm so pleased with that. Look at that lovely colourway. So just in case you missed last week, I'm using La Bien-Aimée merino singles, and I'm getting in a pickle with my labels and my needles and my everything. Okay, haven't got them here. This is their Pêche Mignon colourway. So it's a delicate peach with flecks of teal, a little bit of grey, a little bit of pink. It's amazing. I love this colour. When everybody was going bonkers about Amy's yarn, when she first really hit the scene big time, probably a couple of years ago, this was the colourway that I always longed for. This was it. So when last year when I had the financial means to make a purchase, this was the one I got, and this is the merino singles. And then I've got a natural Suri alpaca silk blend. I don't know whether that does any good, which I bought, excuse me, I bought from bluefaced.com, which is the retail arm of Chester Wool. Yeah, that's right. Anyway. Oh, sorry, making noises, and Hannah gets all skittered with noises. Paloma Sweater. Let's see how far I can get for next time. Not that I'm going to be wearing it anytime soon, am I? Suri alpaca sweater when I'm actually too hot in what I'm wearing today. So that was that for the knitting. How's that? How long have I got? Oh my goodness, these are going to be long. It's good though. It's all good. You're bored. You need stuff to watch. Right, what do my notes tell me? Let's have a look. So I've done that. I've done that. Right. Now, there are 2 more works in progress, really. Neither of them are knitting. We've got a crochet work in progress, which I thought I would share with you. Again, oh my goodness. Must be about 3, maybe 4 years ago. Let's sit back a bit. I decided to cast on the Sunny Spread Throw, which is a crocheted blanket pattern. Can't tell you. I can tell you because I've got it here. It's by Red Heart, and actually I got this pattern. There's no point me showing you this because it's totally mullered. I got it, saw the blanket finished on Amber's podcast, Yarn Hoarder, and absolutely fell in love with it and thought, yeah, I'm going to make that. So at the time I wasn't really into granny stripe blankets, so I bought the yarn, and I bought, I don't know if you remember I mentioned to you the Moonrake cowl was Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. So the colours I used for that were actually colours I had originally bought for this blanket. Just get myself organised. So, and basically the Sunny Spread Throw is made up of circles like that with a border. This one's a bit wonky. Like that. And you make 500 bajillion of these and then sew them all together. So that one, these are ones I haven't used. So I bought loads and loads of colours to make a kind of a rainbow effect, as you do, and started making them. my crochet in those days wasn't brilliant, and I was getting terribly confused with American and English terminology, actually, which is why some of these are a little bit organic, shall we say. Anyway, every now and then I dip into it and I made some more squares. But on my quest to finish stuff and to get some use out of things, I decided I was going to use what I had and do my very own thing. So literally yesterday and the day before, I pulled out the squares I had done. I'd done about 30 squares, but I've used 25. Oh, look. This is where I fall off the chair mid-podcast. Right. Oh, and I should say the cream yarn in this is also Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, and it comes in these big, oh, that it's like a lady with a head and arms. Sorry. And that's just their bare colourway. So I bought a couple of those as well because I'm doing obviously cream borders. Now let me show you this. I'm mid flow, and there's lots of ends. Shouldn't have used the word flow. Should never use that one. Should use mid row. Right. Bum, ba, da, ba, 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 ba. Oh, I'm gonna have to get a bit further back without wheeling over the dog's feet. Now they've got all excited. There you go. Isn't that so cute? I think I'm so pleased. It kind of reminds me of Connect 4, but all multiple colours. So what I'm doing, well, you can see I've joined the 25 squares together with cream yarn, and then I am just adding a border, but it's more than a border. What I'm going to do, so you can see I've got yellow and orange there at the moment. I'm just going to keep going round, so it's going to get bigger, obviously. And I did have plans about doing all nice coordinated colours, but do you know what? I'm just going to use all the leftovers, and so it's going to be a scrappy edge. So it's going to have that central pattern motif in the middle, and then these edges. Where are we? We've got, I wanted to show you because I'm on, here we go. So there, no ends sewn in, obviously. I don't know if you can see. So I had a tangerine colour going on there, and now I've got the deeper orange. So I'm literally just picking up as I go round. I've got a bucket full of colours. And hopefully I won't have to buy any more. I don't really want to buy any more. I want to use what I've got, even if I have to hold some other yarns double. So I'd still like to make it a single bed size, and I'll put some cream in there as well. Yeah, really pleased with that. So last night I did loads of work on that again, which is obviously why I haven't got any FOs. That is really, I'm really excited about that. So that's from redheart.com, and it's the Sunny Spread. Oh, it's just called Sunny Spread Throw. And it uses, I'm actually, what does it say there? Oh, okay. I didn't think to look on this before I picked them up to join them. I'm using a 5mm hook, tulip hook there. But the pattern says 6mm. Anyway, I'll stick with 5. It seems to be working on the border. Might go up to a 6. Nobody's going to notice, are they? Anyway, so yes, that's crochet. It's all going on here. Then, okay, moving on. Weaving. Now, you probably know, a lot of you, that weaving is my thing. I do a lot of weaving. Lost a bit of mojo of late. Actually, in that cubbyette there is a finished a blanket that's off the loom but waiting to have the fringe twisted. So when I get that done, I will share that with you as well. But when I did my stash clear out, I found that I had probably 10 or 12 almost new balls of cotton yarn. In fact, I get them. So I had these, and these are just nothing fancy schmancy. They're Sirdar patterns, 100% cotton, some are DK, most of them are fingering weight. And I decided I wanted to start working through those, and that I would make some kitchen towels also as a plan to give away as gifts to people. And I don't really like weaving with cotton. I don't like working with cotton full stop, despite loving the final product. But I decided to weave a tea towel on my 16-inch loom using a pink and a natural. Now, this is very underwhelming. You're going to be very underwhelmed with this. So this is what I got. It's been washed and pressed. I don't even know if you can see the stripes. Oh, a little bit. Yeah, super underwhelming. I like leaving the end froze because as it's cotton, it comes unhinged, unfringed, and you get a fluffy end. And I looked at this, I thought I did it with DK, didn't like the set, which is equivalent. The set is like the weaver's version of gauge. It's quite holy and open, if you can see. And I wasn't sure about that. Quite frankly, I'd just been lazy. I didn't want to get the bigger loom out, which had a different heddle. So effectively using smaller needles, I needed to use a smaller size heddle, and I only had the smaller size heddle for my larger looms, not for the small one. Didn't really need to know that, did you? Anyway, basically I was lazy. So I've got this bit of cotton, raggy, that will go somewhere. But there is something a little bit more exciting, because then I did get the big loom out yesterday and I warped it up by the 32-inch, which actually is Mama Bear size. Papa Bear is the 48-inch. I got the 32-inch out and I did my measurements properly, did all my calculations, and warped the looms for a set of 2 tea towels that, it's strange, their colours, I'm not entirely sure why I've got them in the first place. They're not my kind of colours, but I decided to put them all together to make some kitchen towels as a gift for this friend who I think will really like them. So that's on the loom. I cannot obviously hold up the loom to show you, but I have filmed a very short couple of clips that I will put in here. So that's what's on the big loom at the moment, and I have moved it into the kitchen because I didn't want to bother clearing my tables. I like to spread out. Plus the fact I can put it by the kitchen window. That's my excuse, and I can look out into the garden as I weave. So that will be, excuse me again. Again, for those of you who don't know, I have a slightly asthmatic cough. This is nothing to do with any germs that are currently flying around. So yeah, anyway, that's the weaving that is going on. Now, prior to that, I had done some weaving way back in Lent. I was making a scarf that I decided I didn't like anymore. So I'd taken the fabric off the loom and decided it was just sitting there. And I thought I might make a little notions pouch or something like that. Then I remembered, again, clearing out, that I had this amazing stuff. And I should have looked up the name of this. I can't remember what it's called. But it's basically a sort of paper fabric. It's like a leather substitute. It's a washable, bendable, pliable paper that you can sew with, and a lot of people use this as a sort of a vegan leather substitute. And I just had this, and I'd had this idea in my mind for a while about making a project bag that you could actually write notes on. So here is my prototype. So first of all, this is the hand woven side. So this is all woven by me, and I just used a variety of yarns. You can see the little labels I've got as well. I used to be, or when I weave, I'm either Hugs from Clara or Clara Peggotty Weaving, depending what mood I'm in really. These are lovely little suede labels that I got a long time ago, again influenced by Amber, and they're from an Etsy shop in Canada, but they're really nice, so I thought I'd use one of those. And it's lined and all that, I'll show you in a moment. But on the back, ta-da! Look, just to show that you can write on it. So I can now actually, well, there's 1,000 different ways you could use this really, isn't there? You could doodle on it and just draw something nice. You could use it to keep notes about your knitting project. Or as someone suggested, you can just keep it as a chronology of what you've had in your project bag. So that's and the date I started. So when I finished these, I could just put a date, next project, I could just write under there and the date, and then eventually, hopefully that would all be full, and that would be the history of my project bag. I really like that. And in fact, on Instagram, I think was it you, Anna, who watched? I think you were saying that you could use it if there's a new baby in the family, you could keep it as a track of all the things you make as that baby grows up. Wouldn't that be really sweet? I mean, this is the only one, so nobody else can do it. But I am thinking about making a few of these. I don't know. It's not my favouriteest thing to make project bags. This is washable. I don't know whether this will wash off. I have done a little test piece, but I haven't got around to washing it yet. So in theory, if you wanted to use this just for notes of your project, you could, and then just hand wash and get rid of the notes afterwards. But that I don't know yet. I need to have a bit more of a play. But, and the nice thing is as well, because it's a little bit stiff, it makes your bag stand up. This is a very small little sock bag because I only had this small sample to sew with. And then I have got, as it said, oh, there's another work in progress there, my dad's Christmas socks. And in this case, I just lined it with some grey polka dot scrap fabric, or white with grey polka dots. And it's just, yeah, bright coloured zip. It was literally, I wanted to throw this together to see if it was a feasible thing to do. So, bright honourable project bags, beautifully hand woven, Dad's Christmas socks. My dad doesn't watch this, so we're okay. So I was really excited about that. So I am thinking I'm going to make another one. I've said I'll make one for my lovely friend Millie, who owns Tribe Yarns, because she really liked it. But I need to weave a bit more as well. So watch this space. Let me know what you think. Right. I think that's all my makes. I think that's all I need to share with you. I've no idea how long I've been going on for, because I've been stopping the phone a few times recording. So it could be quite a long one. Grab a cup of tea, have a drink before we move on to my acquisitions section, because I do actually have some acquisitions that I vaguely talked about last week. These are my hospital car park orders. When I was waiting outside A&E last week for Gary, if you missed last week's podcast, I was sitting in the car for I was sitting in my car for about 3 hours, so I ended up on my phone ordering some yarn. Why not? So yes, I'm very excited. Now, I had mentioned to you, I think, that I ordered some yarn from Fig Tree Yarns, who are in Jersey. I think last week I'd said I didn't know if it was Jersey or Guernsey. They're Jersey. And it arrived yesterday, which I'm so thrilled about. And here's what I ordered. Spin cycle. Oh, look. Look at that. Who knew? I can't believe that. I can't believe that that pin is actually their logo, and I didn't spot that. What, as my daughter would say, a plank. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for being so rubbish. Anyway, Spin Cycle Yarns, whose logo is a kind of a pirate sheep. There you go. This is their Neveruary colourway. And I bought this after thinking long and hard, and then, like I say, ending up in a car park and thought, well, blow it, I'm going to do it, to make, to be the contrasting colour in a stone crop sweater by Andrea Mowry. I'm not going to show you the main yarn I've got for that. It's in my cubby and I haven't got it out, so I won't waste time. But next week I will show you and share with you the colourways I'm going to use with that. But I'm really thrilled. Bluey, pinky. In fact, I think my shift cowl, is it called the Shifty? I always get those muddled up, from Andrea Mowry. I think I bought one of these at Edinburgh as well to make that. So at least I'm consistent with my colourways. Whilst I was on, one of the yarns I've been following Fig Tree Yarns for a while. If they're at a show, I will always go to their stand and buy something that maybe you can't get over here in the UK very often. And one of the yarns I love is Wonderland yarns. And I always look at them, what would I make? I don't know, won't get it, it's expensive, blah, blah, blah. You know, the sort of thing you say to yourself, but that can only last for so long, can't it? You only have a limited amount of willpower. I do anyway. So I bought this. Oh, look at that. Can we just sit there and admire that for a moment? Oh my goodness. I just love it. So this is Wonderland Yarns. This is, I guess, their weight is the Mad Hatter, and the colourway is called Tea Time, number 102, dye lot 13. The colours and the speckles, and just quite honestly, the way it's presented, I don't kind of want to use this. I love it. So this is sport weight, hand dyed Frabjous fibres. Oh, I love that. We sing the Jabberwocky song quite often in this house. In fact, you probably wouldn't know it's a song, you'd know it's a poem. I did years ago when I used to I used to musically direct shows for the local children, and we did one called Through the Looking Glass, and there was a song that the Jabberwocky sang, or at least the children sang about the Jabberwocky, and yeah, so oh frab just stay, Calloo Calais, he chortled in his joy. Oh frab just stay, Calloo Calais, he chortled in his joy. So this is 86 yards per skein, 5 skeins. Is there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Sorry, 6. I don't think the maths was adding up there. 1 ounce skeins, a total of 516 yards, superwash merino. I'll come back to that in a minute because I've got thoughts about what I want to knit that up as. And then, as if that wasn't enough, and I don't know whether I missed this on the website or anything, but Imogen, who runs Fig Tree Yarns, also enclosed this. Amazing. Sweet Georgia Silk Fog, which is their silk mohair blend. And what a brilliant colour. I don't know whether she looked at the colours I bought and chose one, or whether this is what they're doing, but look at that richness and look at the fluff. Can you see the halo on there? And that came as a free gift. This is their raspberry colourway. I mean, it's just amazing. So now I'm thinking that's 255 yards in 50 grams. So that could double over a hat or something like that quite beautifully, or even mittens. Do you know what? I wonder whether to knit my ice dance mittens. I'd have to go up a needle size, wouldn't I? I'd have to find a DK weight if I held that double. Don't know. Anyway, that came as well. And that was a lovely treat. So thank you very much, Fig Tree Yarns. The other purchase I made last week, it's most unusual these days for me to make more than 1 yarn purchase in a week. Yeah, it really is. I have spoken to you before about making my chrysalis shawl, she says, surreptitiously looking down at her notes, which is a pattern by Lavagna Patricella. She has the most beautiful shawls and designs. Look her up if you don't know her. Well, you don't have to. Look her up. Go look her up now. But I wanted to make my chrysalis shawl, which is holding a skein of fingering weight yarn, singly, and then alternating it, the second yarn being the Surrey silk alpaca again, and brioche. So there's a challenge. Anyway, I've had some yarn put aside. I've just seen that looks like it's about to escape, doesn't it? That's not it. There, that one there. I don't know why that's falling out. Again, I'll put this aside for future knitting because, yeah, I've got another thing to talk about. But I couldn't resist this from Skein Queen. And I say Skein Queen. I say skein, not skein. And I'm aware that if you said skein, it would rhyme really nicely. But I'm a skein girl. Skein Queen. Okay, this is Skein Queen yarn. So that is the label. And this is a beautiful, it's her Cloud Gazer base, which is Baby Surrey alpaca and silk. And the colourway is Sweet Lilac. So I absolutely love this. So that is earmarked for a future project, and it's to go with a skein already in my stash. Wow, so that's acquisitions for you. There won't always be acquisitions. I'm still working very much from stash. Yeah, but those are just so pleased with. Right, next segment, just a quick chat about a future project that I want to cast on. Will it be cast on before next week? I don't know. It almost got cast on yesterday, but it does involve ripping back something. So I have, I started knitting a cardigan last year from an Amy Herzog book, Fit to Flatter. And it's a very pretty cardigan. And at the time, I'd never really taken the trouble to take my measurements properly or to consider what suited me or fitted me. So I bought that book. I did the whole thing because I was fed up with having sweaters that just looked rubbish, basically, after you put all those hours in. And I started making a cardigan. Again, at Edinburgh, I bought some, fun enough, Skein Queen yarn from Debbie before she left the business, Debbie Orr. She handed over to Rachel. I'm sorry, Rachel, I don't know your surname, but anyway, they were both up at Edinburgh, I think they were both there. Anyway, Debbie was there, and I bought some yarn, but I rather foolishly bought 3 skeins of the colour I really, really loved. And because she didn't have 5, I bought 2 skeins of a contrasting colour. Now these are DK. Oh, the one thing I didn't put on my thing. So I bought 3 skeins of that, which is this really pretty, and this is her SMYK, I think, colourway, which is a reference to print colours for those of you who don't know. So it's speckled, lots of different ones. And then the contrasting one I bought was that one. So, you know, I bought them to match up. Then I couldn't find anything to knit with them. And then I decided I didn't want to put that as a contrast. You know, I just didn't know what to do with these. So I started to make this cardigan by Amy Herzog. And I knit the front. So you can see how it knits up. It's really pretty. And I made the bottom bit the contrast. I also knit the back. Now ignore the pooling in the back, just see. So did all that, fallen out of love with the project, gone off the cardigan, don't want to knit it. And I also didn't like the fact, I don't know if you can see it, to me, I didn't alternate skeins, and there's a definite darker patch running across there. Let's see if I do it. Can you see this bit's lighter and then it gets darker? Anyway. Oh, every time I look at this, it's going to break my heart to frog it, but only because I knit it, you know, not because I love the project anymore. Anyway, I have discovered that Abby Knits does, and you probably all would have heard of this because again, I'm late to the party, ironically, the party top or the party sweater. I wrote it down, party top, which only takes, I think I heard about this week on a podcast I was watching, and it only takes 3 skeins, I think, of DK yarn because it's cropped and closely fitted. I went on to have a look and there is that, but there is also one called, I believe, and I do need to check, the floral party top, which has got, it's a bit like a baseball top, so it's got a main colour and then contrasting sleeves. Oh yes, thank you very much. So I'm going to knit the, what is it called? The floral party top with that as the body. So that is the body. And then that is the sleeves. That's all right, isn't it? Look at that. Bish, bash, bosh. Obviously, I won't be putting a front of a card. So I am quite hyped up. And when I start projects, that's the place I like to be when I start them. I like to be excited, can't wait to cast on, get right in there. But sadly, I do need to frog these. And I need to weigh the yarn to make sure I have got enough to make that. But I think, even though I'd ordered the yarn and I was all set to cast on the stone crop sweater, I think this will be the next one because this has been in my stash longer. And I would feel so happy. And it's so summery and it's lovely. So yeah, that is that. Now, I think that's probably all I'm going to give you for knitting and crafting right now. That's probably enough, isn't it? Again, no idea how long I've been talking. This section alone on my phone is 20 minutes, so wow. So there's all my knitting. I'm absolutely loving my crafting at the moment. I can't do enough of it. I've got evenings to myself anyway because Gary's in bed by tea time and resting if he's not been in bed all day. So I have got more time, although this morning I've done lots of housework. So now this afternoon I'm going to be free to sit down. I'll obviously get this edited and up tomorrow. And yeah, I'll do some more knitting. I'm not sure what I'm going to pick to knit. We'll have to wait to see next week. Okay, my final thing I like to do is a little book review. And it's a non-knitting book review this week. And a lot of you have said you do like the reviews, so I am going to stick with it. I will tag one on to the end most weeks. If you're not interested in book reviews, then thank you so much for watching. And I do hope you enjoyed it. And I've got to say the whole, if you did like it, click the thumbs up or subscribe to me. It will be so cute. It's been so lovely this week watching the numbers go up, the subscriber numbers go up. I get very excited because I'm a bit sad like that. Or comment or question below, okay? The book review then for this week. I am going to share with you there's 3 books that this author has written. I believe there's more than 3, but I have 3. But the book I want to talk to you about is this one. The President's Hat by Antoine Lorraine. Not sure. Chantal will correct me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. So, again, you know me by now. You know I like the slightly off the mainstream kind of books, the quirky books. This book is just way out there quirky. A bit like, well, the one last week, the Diary of a Swedish Shepherd, was super quirky, but that was, it was a non-fiction book. This is a fiction book, or as I like to call them, a novel, even though Gary tells me that nobody calls them novels anymore. I call them novels. I'm just looking at, yeah, it's set in the 1980s. I'm trying to think if there was a, here we go. Okay, would you forgive me if I just read to you the little bit of what's on the dust jacket here, because trying to describe this book is going to be hard. Dining alone in an elegant Parisian brasserie, accountant Daniel Mercier can hardly believe his eyes when President François Mitterrand sits down and to eat at the table next to him. Daniel's thrill at being in such close proximity to the most powerful man in the land, obviously, sorry, I should have said, it's set in France, persists even after the presidential party has gone, which is when he discovers that Mitterrand's black felt hat has been left behind. After a few moments soul-searching, Daniel decides to keep the hat as a souvenir of an extraordinary evening. It's a perfect fit. But as he leaves the restaurant, Daniel begins to feel somehow different. It's such an entertaining read. Okay, it's not what you think. He doesn't suddenly become all presidential. It's and it is more the story of the hat. It is the story of the hat as opposed to the character and all the people who come into contact with the hat and their lives. So it draws together a whole range of different people. It's written beautifully. It's an easy read. It will make you laugh, make you smile. And it's kind of, again, I might have used this word last week, but it is just charming. It's just a delightfully charming book. Again, not too thick to read. So I encourage you, if you're looking to broaden out into some slightly different reads to the norm, The President's Hat by Antoine Lorraine is a great one. He has written 2 others which they published in the same kind of ilk, the portrait and the red notebook. These are quite similar. I didn't actually enjoy these as much. I felt they were a little bit samey, a little bit bandwagon, almost like he'd written them off the back of the success of this one. This is clearly the best one of the three. In fact, yeah, you can see it was a Waterstones book club, but that's probably how I came across it. But yeah, impossible to resist is what it says on the front. So it's translated from French into English. So of course you could read it in the original French, but I would say I would highly recommend you that book. Right, I think that will do us. I better start sticking this all together, hadn't I? And horrify myself to see how long it's been. Let me just have a quick sip before I sign off. It's probably just after lunch here on Wednesday, so I will edit this afternoon and get this up most likely tomorrow morning. I hope you're all keeping well. I hope you're all staying sane and safe. I really hope that in all seriousness that you're managing to cope with the current situation out there in the big wide world. It's something that I'm not intending to talk about anytime soon, but that doesn't mean I don't obviously acknowledge it and know that there's lots of very important things going on out there. On that note, that little serious note, I will wish you a very happy week and weekend. I will be back again next Thursday with more nattering, and I said it last week quite off the top of my head, and I'm going to say it again. In the meantime, be more sheep and keep cheerful.